Beginning our list at number 10 is Bill Cosby. For many years, he carried the title of America's Dad because he was a role model in show business and a big influence for other generations of comedians. He also played the father of the famous TV family on The Cosby Show. He was adored by many, to say the least, so much so that even after sexual assault claims came out towards him in 2005, he was still capable of continuing on with his career. It wasn't until 2014 when his career took a hit and one of his victims came forward and told her story to the Daily Mail and the Washington Post. After that, more than 60 accusers came forward and spoke against him, and he was placed behind bars in 2018. Coming in next, number 9 is Amy Schumer. People fell in love with her quickly after they saw her interview on the Ellen DeGeneres show. She quickly rose to fame and became one of the highest paid female comedians. But the jokester has been accused of going too far with some of her jokes. And many people would agree that either you hate her or you love her. There's really no in between when it comes to her. I personally find her hilarious. However, I don't always agree with some of her jokes and commentary. Like this one. One time she took things too far and made a really bad joke about Ryan Dunn's death. He was known for his time on Jackass and died tragically in a car accident. During one of her skits, she took a jab at Ryan's longtime friend Steve-O and said, "I'm sorry for the loss of your friend. I know you were thinking it could have been me. And I know we are all thinking, why wasn't it?" She was actually booed off stage for that. It was that bad. Coming into number 8 is Lance Armstrong. For a long time, he was known as one of the greatest cyclists of all time until he became famous for being involved in one of the biggest doping scandals in cycling history. After finding out that he was using drugs and cheating the system, it was hard for fans to hate him at first because he was a heroic cancer survivor. He often tried to inspire others, but they still couldn't ignore the fact that he was very wrong for what he did. The US Anti-Doping Agency said he ran the most sophisticated, professionalized, and successful doping program that the sport has ever seen. In the end, he was actually stripped from his cycling titles, dropped by all of his sponsors, and was banned from professional cycling races altogether. His career and reputation have never been the same since. Let's just say that. Next up at number 7 is Jennifer Lawrence. It's hard to tell the overall consensus when it comes to this beauty. Some people will defend her and some will totally drag her name in the dirt. She skyrocketed into fame after people fell in love with her for her role in The Hunger Games. She became one of the youngest winners for the Best Actress at the Academy Awards and was the highest paid actress in 2015 and 2016. Somewhere along the lines though, people started to turn against her, saying they can't relate to her anymore. They said that she became rude in person and she wouldn't acknowledge them or take photos with them anymore. People have raved online that they once adored her normal girl persona, but that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. She just isn't relatable. Rolling into number 6 is TJ Miller. At the beginning of 2017, he was on top of the world. He played the fan favorite character on Silicon Valley, Weasel in the Deadpool franchise, and landed his own HBO special, Meticulously Ridiculous. He was killing it. But his career started to take a hit when HBO announced that the producers of Silicon Valley and the comedian mutually agreed to end their partnership. But details came out saying that TJ did not want to do it anymore and said that he slammed the show's writing and had tension with the producer. Later down the road, he was accused of sexual assault by a woman from his past, but denied all the allegations. Then, he allegedly submitted a fake bomb threat and was arrested in April 2018. So, he's got a list of reasons as to why he's on this list. Halfway through at number 5 is Adam Sandler. He's been one of the biggest actors in Hollywood pretty much my entire life, and he's always been adored for his talent. I didn't realize what people thought about the actor until I started doing some research. People have criticized his work over recent years, saying that his movies aren't as good as they were before, and basically have said that his time is up. Forbes gave him the title for Most Overpaid Actor for 2 years in a row back in 2013 and 2014. I don't fully understand why he's hated so much. I think people are just kind of over him and maybe have moved on and started adoring other actors. I've always liked Adam Sandler, so I personally don't hate him, but I would really like to know your guys' opinion on Adam Sandler. Do you hate him? Do you think his time has passed, or is he just as good as he's always been? Let me know what you think. Here now, number 4 is Amber Heard. If you are on the internet these days, then this one is pretty self-explanatory. She's had a very successful acting career, and with that comes millions of adoring fans. But that all changed after the lawsuit between her and her ex-husband Johnny Depp has been all over the media. Detailed evidence has proven that she made up her allegations about Johnny Depp abusing her, and she could be facing up to 3 years in jail for her own domestic abuse charges against him. She will be jailed if found guilty for manipulating and faking evidence in her lawsuit. She posted photos of her face being all bruised up and said that Johnny did it, but her own stylist has come forward and said that she did not see any visible marks, cuts, or bruises on her face or body that day. The photos that she posted with bruises all over her face are said to be photoshopped. Taking over our third spot is Taylor Swift. When Kanye took the mic from her at the MTV Music Video Awards, people came to her defense and cried for her. But over the years to follow, people have started to kind of turn against her for a variety of reasons. Some people don't believe her side of the whole story about Kanye's song, where she apparently gave him permission to use those lyrics in his song. Some people don't agree with her political views against the president Donald Trump. Some people don't like her music. Some people don't like her voice. And some people even criticized her new Netflix documentary, which showed a more personal side to her life. I personally think she's always had mixed opinions. Some people I know have always loved her, some people have always hated her, some people love to hate her. You know, I feel like that's up to you. I did gain more respect for her after watching her documentary though, I gotta say. Coming into number 2 is Katherine Heigl. There was a time when she was showing up in practically every rom-com and people loved seeing her bubbly self on the screen. But then she gave her brutally honest opinion about one of them and people started to dislike her. She took the lead in the 2006 movie Knocked Up, and in 2008 she opened up about how she felt about it. In the January issue of Vanity Fair, she said the movie was, I quote, "a little sexist. It paints women as shrews, as humorless and uptight, and it paints the men as lovable, goofy, fun-loving guys. It exaggerated the characters and I had a hard time with it on some days. Why is this how you're portraying women?" This interview alone was enough for people in Hollywood to turn away from wanting to work with her, but it was sealed when she did another interview in 2008 where she dissed the writing in her show Grey's Anatomy as well. Girl, it's like you're purposely trying to ruin your career. Earning the number 1 spot is Kevin Spacey. Because he is hated so much now, it's hard to actually remember the time when people actually loved him. The once 2-time Oscar winner was very loved before he was facing felony assault charges. He was once killing it on his Netflix series House of Cards, but things changed in October 2017 when an actor named Anthony Rapp accused him of making sexual advances towards him when he was only 14 years old. After the story was published, more than 30 people came forward with allegations, accusing him of things ranging from harassment to attempted rape. It was officially announced that he was fired from his Netflix show House of Cards. As for his sentencing, people hate him even more now because he basically walked away as a free man from the whole thing. I don't know if we should hate him or if we should hate the system.
In at number 10, Debbie Ryan. Debbie Ryan is an American actress and singer, and she started acting in professional theaters at the age of 7 and was later discovered in a nationwide search by the Disney Channel. From 2011 to 2015, Ryan starred as the title character on the Disney Channel television series called Jessie and appeared in the 2012 television film Radio Rebel. In April of 2016, Ryan was arrested for driving under the influence. Initially, she was charged with felony DUI, but it was later reduced to 2 misdemeanors. She was released after posting $100,000 bail. Apparently, she slammed her Audi into a Mercedes, and when the cops came, they gave the then 22-year-old actress a field sobriety test and promptly arrested her. Debbie did get a break though. Authorities decided, as I said, to bump it down to a misdemeanor because the injury was minor and she only blew a .11, not that much over the .08 legal limit. There was also rumors that she would bully her co-stars while on set, which didn't exactly give her a good reputation with fans of the show. In at number 9, David Henrie. David Henrie is an American actor and director, and he's mostly known for playing Ted Mosby's future son Luke on How I Met Your Mother and Justin Russo in Wizards of Waverly Place. He also has starred in the films Little Boy and Walt Before Mickey. While he was at the Universal City Walk back in 2010, David was detained by police for disturbing the peace. Witnesses said that the actor challenged a person to fight, but not too long after, he was later released to his father. According to Variety, though, he was arrested again in 2018. Variety confirmed with an LAX public information officer that Henrie was arrested at LAX after a TSA officer went through his bag and found a firearm. Following the incident, David apologized in a statement on Twitter, saying that he unintentionally brought his gun, which he legally owns and is registered to his name, but fans, however, could no longer look at him the same way, and because of these multiple incidents with the police, his image was certainly tarnished. In at number 8, Annalise van der Pol. Best known for her role as Chelsea Daniels in That's So Raven, Annalise went on to star in the Bratz movie the same year that Raven ended. Annalise pleaded no contest to 2 misdemeanors, driving under the influence and driving with a blood alcohol level above .08, and the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office prosecuted the case. The court offered Miss van der Pol 36 months probation and a penalty of $2,844 in fines and assessments. Annalise posted this photo to her Facebook page saying that she was blocking out all of the negativity and hate, so you know her fans must have really been turning on her after all these poor decisions. Plus, the first episode of Raven's Home aired at the start of 2017, so perhaps it didn't get the type of response that she was hoping for. In at number 7, Demi Lovato. First really becoming loved for her performances in Sunny with a Chance and Camp Rock, the star's image was quickly flipped after a terrible altercation. According to TMZ, she punched one of her backup dancers with a closed fist and struck her on the left side of her face. The dancer was knocked clean out of her seat and had to receive emergency medical attention. Lovato was immediately removed from the plane and eventually returned home. She checked herself into a treatment center shortly after. She began to try to rebuild her image, but it's pretty hard for people who loved her on Disney to just take her back after an incident like that. In at number 6, Shia LaBeouf. Even Steven star Shia LaBeouf was loved by many, and he even received a Young Artist Award nomination in 2001 and won a Daytime Emmy Award in 2003 for the show. Although Shia LaBeouf's career would soon take a tumultuous turn. In 2017 alone, the actor was sued for $5 million by a bartender, he was arrested in Savannah, Georgia for public intoxication, and he was ordered to attend a 10-week rehab program. He was also arrested in Austin, Texas, and witnesses say that the actor was blitzed, out of control, and disobeyed the police. Shia was taken to the Travis County Jail and booked for misdemeanor public intoxication, and Shia, who's been to rehab, has also been dogged by substance abuse problems for a long time. While he has delivered some terrific performances in his latest projects, Disney fans can't stand his level of defiance. In at number 5, Lindsay Lohan. Lohan debuted in Disney's 1998 family comedy The Parent Trap, a remake of the original. She also starred in 2 Disney television movies called Life Size, opposite Tyra Banks in 2000, and Get a Clue in 2002. Lohan had been arrested a number of times, including her infamous drug-fueled car chase through Santa Monica back in 2007. 3 men said an intoxicated Lindsay hijacked a car in which they were passengers, blew through red lights, and eventually ended up at the police department where she was arrested for a DUI. This was also her second DUI bust in less than 90 days. Cops also said that they found cocaine on her, and she quickly went from being the next big thing in Hollywood to one of the most hated. In at number 4, Adam Hicks. His first leading role was in the movie How to Eat Fried Worms, and he was also known for playing Luther in the Disney XD series called Zeke and Luther. The Disney star was arrested after allegedly committing 4 or 5 armed robberies in the San Fernando Valley. Sources say that Hicks and his girlfriend would go up to people that were walking, stick a gun in their face, and demand money, cell phones, and other items. A neighbor originally told the police that they witnessed the alleged assault, but when the police followed up, they became uncooperative. His girlfriend also refused to cooperate with the case as well. However, the cops are still saying that Hicks, who is currently starring on Hulu's Freakish, and girlfriend, who is also an actor, robbed 4 people at some point in the early morning. In a surveillance video, a man who is believed to be Hicks approaches a man walking on the street. The suspect has a gun tucked under his arm. Yeah, I don't think anyone's watching Zeke and Luther ever again after that. In at number 3, Lelaine Vergara-Perez. Lelaine is better known for her role as Miranda Sanchez on Lizzie McGuire, and after she tried to pursue a music career, she sort of fell into obscurity. She had filmed with the show from 2001 to 2004, but by 2007, people started to find out who she really was. In July of 2007, Lelaine was arrested and charged with felony possession of methamphetamines. She also pleaded guilty to this charge, and a $50,000 bench warrant was set after she failed to appear in court for her hearing. According to Lelaine, she had some serious beef with her fellow actors, as she was the only one deemed to be too ethnic. They actually told her to look as white as possible, which undoubtedly caused some tension between her and everyone else on the show. When the Lizzie McGuire reboot was in the works, they confirmed every character returning, but Lelaine was left out of the conversation. Sadly, even though she was a big part of Lizzie McGuire, most Disney fans still can't stand her. In at number 2, Orlando Brown. That's how Raven star Orlando Brown smiled for a mugshot after a family dispute led to cops showing up at the star's apartment. Cops then checked their system and arrested him for an active warrant popping up. Best known for his role as Eddie Thomas on That's So Raven, it became evident that fans were no longer on his side when Disney reprised the show under its new name, Raven's Home. While Raven-Symoné and Annalise van der Pol came back, Orlando was noticeably missing from the reunion. The main reason why they couldn't have him back was due to his very non-Disney-like behavior. Brown made headlines after he was arrested for public intoxication and disturbing the peace after he threatened to kill a woman. And no more fans for you. Last but certainly not least, at our number 1 spot, Vanessa Hudgens. Vanessa Hudgens has had some major issues with her fans after departing from her once innocent Disney image. Her fans loved her in High School Musical, but when she started doing films like Spring Breakers, it seemed like she was trying too hard to break that image. When the lockdown started happening, she got herself into some even more trouble while doing some Instagram live streams with her fans. Her fans were asking about how she felt about the quarantine, and Hudgens just said this.
I'm like, even if everybody gets it, like, yeah, people are gonna die. It's just terrible, but like, inevitable? I don't know.
At that point in time, no one really had any idea when these lockdowns would be lifted, and you could clearly tell that she was annoyed by the inconvenience of needing to lock down to protect the sick and vulnerable, but this kind of selfish behavior was frowned upon by many, including whatever fans she had left.
Starting us off at number 10 is Micah Stauffer. The YouTuber is facing some serious heat right now that goes beyond online drama. Authorities launched an investigation into the welfare of her adopted son Huxley after she and her husband announced that they had placed him with another family. The Delaware County Sheriff's Office said the investigation is currently ongoing and that they will be doing home studies and background checks. The couple are now under fire because their son Huxley, who has autism, has always been a big part of their story. They made videos regarding the adoption process, his condition, their struggles, all of which were monetized and made significant revenue. She is receiving a ton of ridicule and has lost some very big partnerships with brands. Next up at number 9 is Joe Exotic. It's hard to really include him on this celebrity list, but the truth of the matter is he did skyrocket into fame after his documentary came out on Netflix. You have reached some level of fame when they immediately cast a movie off your documentary and hire Nicolas Cage to star as you. So he's got to be famous. But people are losing respect for him very quickly after stories came out about how much his documentary lied about details. Turns out he really did have tigers killed and even shot an innocent horse to use it as meat food at his zoo. There were a lot of sketchy details that surfaced after the documentary ended, and people are not in love with his goofy character anymore. Plus, they also didn't respect that his team is tweeting out currently about his freedom during the middle of a Black Lives Matter movement. We ain't trying to help you out of prison, alright? Sliding into number 8 is Kristen Stewart. People adored her after she took on the lead role as Bella Swan in the Twilight series. Although they thought her acting could have been better, they loved the franchise and the fact that she was dating her co-star Robert Pattinson in real life. But then the world turned against her when photos leaked online of her making out with a different man, a much older married man, might I add, who was her director in Snow White and the Huntsman. Ever since then, people have ridiculed her for being a cheater and has torn her acting apart in every movie after Twilight. Like literally, there's memes that float around the internet poking fun at how terrible of an actress she is. It's like, I feel bad, it's funny, but like, girl needs to make more than one facial expression. All I'm gonna say. In spot number 7 is Shia LaBeouf. His success came from his time in the Transformers franchise, and despite having a bad reputation now, there's no denying that he can act. But his reputation started to go down south when his behavior became completely erratic and weird. In July 2017, he was arrested for disorderly conduct, obstruction, and public intoxication. But it wasn't until video footage of the actor was released that people were left in shock. TMZ released body cam footage which shows Shia cursing at one police officer, calling him different vulgatory names, and saying racist comments towards another officer who was black. Since then, people lost a lot of respect for him and his career hasn't fully recovered. However, he is trying to do better nowadays. He seems to be more level-headed and sober. Cruising to number 6 is Paris Hilton. She was once the big talk of the town when she became a household name for her phrase, "That's hot." She had the title of best-selling author at one time and was a highly paid actress, model, DJ, and brand ambassador. But her career started to dwindle and she blames it on her 2004 sex tape that went viral. It was called One Night in Paris. Clever. Paris claims that the sex tape was actually put out by her ex-boyfriend and was never meant to be seen by anyone. She said it has completely ruined her life, but other people would argue it was her bad acting that did not progress her resume. Well, that, and she also made some awful homophobic comments about not wanting to be gay because apparently, quote, "you will die of AIDS." Halfway through our list, at number 5 is Trisha Paytas. She did quite the damage on her career in 2019, despite being one of the biggest YouTubers at the time. One of the biggest controversies that pretty much ruined her reputation is when she posted a video saying that she is transgender. Being transgender was not the issue. It was how she spoke about it, saying that she identifies with men better and identifies herself as a gay man because she likes guys. People did not really believe her, and it seemed more like a publicity stunt than anything. And then after that, she posted videos of her making out with Jaclyn Hill's ex-husband, and seeing as he is not gay and identifies as a man, people were even more pissed off and confused. I'm still confused about that whole thing. We are moving on to number 4, and we have Mel Gibson. There was a time when Mel Gibson was one of Hollywood's brightest stars, but then he basically started to drown in controversy, and it all started in 2006 when he was arrested for a DUI. He blamed the DUI as having a breakdown and said that he was wasted and angry. But that was not the only thing. It's also hard to forget his fall from grace in 2010 when a series of taped phone conversations between him and his then girlfriend were released. You could hear the actor verbally attacking her with profanity, threats, and racial slurs. He even went as far as saying that he hopes she gets raped. When doing interviews about the phone meltdown, he had no problem continuing to offend people based on race, sexual orientation, gender, and immigration status. Hollywood just began to lose respect for the actor, and so did his fans. Alright guys, at number 3 is Britney Spears. I don't know if it's hate as much as it is confusion. People don't even know how to feel about her these days because she's just so different from how we remember her before she shaved her head and smashed a car window with an umbrella. She was once the biggest pop star in the world for many years, until she had a mental breakdown and then just disappeared from the limelight for a while. Then, when she made her way back, she was just very different. Her voice and music is still the same, but her social media presence has everyone hella confused. She often looks dazed, she does these wild, strange dances, and she talks about how she burned her home gym down. Like literally, in a video, she just casually tells you that she burnt down her entire home gym. How does that happen? Taking over spot number 2 is Logan Paul. His brother Jake was on our part 2 list because he is currently in some heat, but Logan lost his YouTube career a few years ago. Logan was the first Paul brother to have his career really take off, but it all came to an end when one of his videos made news headlines for all the wrong reasons. He vlogged a trip with his friends to the famous suicide forest in Japan, but didn't do it respectfully. The forest has the title because people are known to go into the forest to commit suicide, and Logan actually came across a dead body on his visit. He caught the entire thing on camera and posted it to his YouTube channel. People were furious because of how disrespectful it was, not to mention he and his friends were all laughing in the video about what they just saw. He lost his biggest sponsorships on YouTube and had to go on TV to publicly apologize. Yeah, he ended up leaving YouTube altogether. Successful podcast nowadays, but YouTube not so much. Earning her number 1 place is Lea Michele. The Glee actress is under fire recently after accusations were made on Twitter, accusing her of making a co-star's life a living hell. Samantha Ware worked with her on Glee, and she said she made racial comments to her and said that she would spit in her wig. Lea quickly apologized and said she didn't remember making the comments, but was sorry if she hurt her. But despite the apology, the accusations just came rolling in from other actors that worked with her, saying that she was always dismissive to black actors and that they don't think it is a coincidence. Lea has yet to respond to the other accusations and has not responded to the request for comment. In the number 10 spot is Doja Cat. She's got tons of fans, but recent times haven't been the best for her after she came under fire for saying offensive things online. It wasn't long into the controversy before people started a very trending hashtag Doja Cat is over party. And in this generation, that is when you know you've been canceled. When they create a hashtag that you're over. Allegations surfaced that claimed she had taken part in racist video chats and wrote a song in 2015 called Didn't Do Nuffin', which is racist slur mocking victims of police brutality. Because of what is happening in our world right now, people were not happy. She did issue an apology for the song, but denied taking part in any kind of racism online, even though they did have video evidence to prove it. Things just are not looking good for her right now. Coming in next, number 9 is Jake Paul. One of the most popular YouTubers right now is on people's most hated list after being accused of looting the riots this past weekend. An Arizona mall was completely destroyed in a riot, and Jake Paul was caught on camera in the midst of it, with all of it happening around him. You don't actually see him steal anything, but he is right there while everyone around him is destroying the stores and stealing everything inside. Jake posted on his Instagram story that the cops tear gassed him and were pointing guns at him. You can see in some of the videos posted online that Jake had some of his YouTube film crew with him, camera in hand. The world was furious that he was taking part, but Jake responded with a very long statement. He said he did not engage in any of the violence or vandalism and does not condone it, but that he understands it. Sniping the 8th spot is Lori Loughlin. The actress has always been adored for her time on the hit TV series Full House, but she was recently sentenced 2 months behind bars, along with her husband, who was sentenced to 5 months. They were busted for being involved with a college admission scam which helped their daughters cheat their SAT scores and get admission into college. They paid $500,000 in bribes. They argued that they thought their payments were donations that would go to the University of Southern California as a fundraising gift, but they ended up pleading guilty when all was said and done. As part of their plea deal, she will also be paying a $150,000 fine, and she has to perform 100 hours of community service. In spot number 7 is Kylie Jenner. There's no denying that she is loved by many people, even if you are not one of them. She does have a huge fan base who very much support her. But people are not impressed with her behavior right now after some drama came to surface. This past Friday, Forbes dropped an article titled "Inside Kylie Jenner's Web of Lies and Why She's No Longer a Billionaire." They took back her billionaire title, accusing her of inflating her personal wealth and forging her tax returns. Kylie shut them down on Twitter, but never commented on these accusations. She simply said that she never asked for the title or tried to lie her way there. Articles have surfaced since then saying that Kylie is furious with her mom, who also is her manager and earns 10% of her earnings, and apparently she's refusing to take her calls. Why, you might ask? Because sources say that Kylie doesn't know who to trust right now. Maybe it was her mom who leaked some information. We're not sure. However, both of them are very worried as to what this could do to her brand. Moving on to number 6 is James Franco, one of the most popular actors in Hollywood at one point until he got exposed for being inappropriate with minors and accused of sexual assault. It started back in 2014 when screenshots surfaced showing that he was trying to rent a hotel room with a girl that he knew was 17 years old. The scandal did eventually fade out, but then in 2018, he showed up to the Golden Globes wearing a Time's Up pin, and women started coming forward accusing him of sexual assault and harassment. Since then, he has deleted all of his social media and he has remained off our screen for years. He did try to come back last year with his own movie called Zeroville, but it was a complete flop. Like one of the worst in history. Almost embarrassing. No, it was embarrassing. Halfway through our countdown, number 5 is Kim Kardashian. There's been an ongoing feud between Kim, Kanye, and Taylor Swift. It felt like it came to an end after footage leaks showing the entire phone conversation when Kanye apparently asked Taylor to use lyrics about her in his song Famous. The full conversation was finally exposed, and nowhere in the call does he ask Taylor's permission to call her a B-word. The call was leaked online and Taylor was thrilled that the truth was finally out. Kim went online to defend her side still, and fans quickly started turning against her. They said that she's a hypocrite for saying that she doesn't care about the drama, but then speaks on it anyway. Plus, she is still denying everything even though there is proof. Like, how long can one person lie for? Just apologize. Here now at number 4 is Charlie Sheen. He was on top of the world when starring on his hit TV series 2.5 Men, earning more than any other actor on TV at the time. There's probably a list of things that play a factor as to why his career came to an end. His struggle with drugs and alcohol, his erratic and inappropriate behavior, his feuds with other celebrities. But it's hard to forget his ABC interview when he was asked if he was still using drugs. He said, "I am on a drug. It's called Charlie Sheen. It is not available. If you try it once, you will die. Your face will melt off off and your children will weep over your exploded body. He then went on to talk about sleeping with prostitutes. The entire interview is manic and whack, but no one could ever forget his famous line when he said that he had tiger blood running through his veins. Since that moment, that has been an ongoing joke. However, I gotta give props when it's due. It does seem like he has turned his addiction around, so you gotta give props where it's due, because that's nothing to mess around with or joke about. All right, guys, and the third spot is Miley Cyrus. Now, I've been a fan of her since the good old Hannah Montana days, so this one is a little hard for me to admit. A lot of people have turned away from her in recent years because of some of her choices and behavior. She has been in the center of controversy for years now, but the most recent one was when she got divorced from her longtime hubby, Liam Hemsworth. Because just a few days later, she was spotted kissing another woman. And then not long after that, she was filmed making out with Cody Simpson, who she is now dating. Now, her love life is her personal business, but people were very invested in her and Liam's relationship and couldn't understand how she moved on so quickly and then posted about it all over social media like she didn't even care about it. Don't agree with all her decisions, but I still like her. Taking over the number 2 spot is Ellen DeGeneres. For anyone who has been out of the loop lately, the world is turning against Ellen in 2020, claiming that she is not as nice as she appears to be. Celebrities have exposed her and shared bad experiences they had with her on the show. Fans have even come forward with stories of mistreatment, and even former employees have explained stories where she did not treat them kindly, like you probably thought that she did. There are honestly way too many examples to list, but if you missed all the drama, we have covered the whole thing on our channel, so I will add a link somewhere on the screen so you guys can get all caught up on that. There's a lot of tea, let me tell you. Earning the number 1 spot is R. Kelly. One of the most popular artists for many years, but the R&B singer has been facing sexual abuse allegations for more than 2 decades. And somehow he was getting away with it the entire time. Until now. In 2019, he was officially charged after they found video footage that they could use as valid evidence. The footage came from an old documentary of his life that showed he had been with a girl he knew was underage. He had been denying it the whole time that he knew her age, but in the video, he actually states her name and age, like from his own mouth. He was charged with 13 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse and 2 separate federal indictments for sex trafficking, all of which he has pleaded not guilty to. As of now, he is currently sitting behind bars, and his victims were able to share their stories in the Netflix documentary Surviving R. Kelly. If you have not watched it, go watch it. It's so worth it. It was so well done.